Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University at Hyderabad. I am Dr. Sonal Mobar Roy, working at National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. We are here to look at the course Social Issues, Policies and Development, and now we will be talking about understanding social policy, concept and significance. We will try and focus on types and challenges of social policy. This is a part of the course in Sociology UG second year, semester 3. We have already understood what is social policy and how it is related to public policy. What are the nuances of designing a social policy and the whole focus on the marginalized section. Herein, we are going to see the types of social policy. In the previous sections, you have already understood the principles of social policy, how it is ensuring that people are facing, in the previous section, you have already seen the principles of social policy. It ensures that all the implementation, the programs that are delivered at the grassroots level are just in nature and nobody is actually excluded. Now, let us take a look at the types of social policy. If we look more closely, social policy can take different forms. Some policies are redistributive in nature. They transfer resources such as pensions and subsidies. Others are regulatory in nature. They set rules to prevent exploitation. And some are developmental in nature. They focus on long-term investments in education and health. Each of these reflects a different way of addressing social issues. They are catering to the various problems of health, education, unemployment, illiteracy, etc., which mar the face of development in the country. India is a huge nation with diverse population talking in different languages and dialects. We have populations segmented by geographical boundaries, etc. So, whatever social policies are designed, they have to make sure that they are not excluding any section of the society. So, it is primarily a focus here that we understand the nuance of social policy, of how well it is designed to reach and cater to the grassroots level people. Let us take a look at primary types and examples of social policy. So, if we talk about health policy, you have seen there are various initiatives for medical services, public health and healthcare access. There are programs that are ensured for people to reach out and have better health facilities at the grassroots level. So, there are public health centers, sub-centers, etc. The government ensures that they are equipped with the right kind of infrastructure, HR and facilities, and nobody feels devoid or feels the pain of not getting a health facility at the moment they are asking for. So, health policies are designed in such a manner that health sector is fully functional and people are having good access to health facilities. Next, let us take a look at education policies. As I mentioned earlier, you have the right to education. There is free and compulsory education provided by the government. So, there are policies regulating school systems, funding patterns and access to education. The government ensures there is provision for student loans, scholarships, there are various initiatives, smart classrooms, etc., to make sure that students are coming to schools, attending classes. There is a food program to ensure to cater to the classroom hunger. So, there are various initiatives and these are all done under the education policy for better implementation of the programs in the education sector. And if you look at social security and welfare programs of the country, these are programs providing financial assistance and protection to the needy. So, there is a pension program, there is unemployment benefit, there is food assistance. So, various programs and schemes are designed to make sure people have good livelihood options, they can take loans, have secure livelihoods, they can come up with their own initiatives, small enterprises. So, the whole policy is designed to cater to the social security segment. Also, we can also talk about labor and employment policy, which makes sure regulations are defined for working conditions. There is good HR policy in place, there are minimum wage laws in place, There are safety standards ensured for the safety of the people, for the labor class. So, all this comes under the labor and employment policy. Next, if we were to think of housing policy, policy is managing housing affordability, supply and anti-discrimination are there in place to ensure that people get rent subsidies, they have public housing access, etc. So, nobody is sleeping under the under the sky. People have good housing facilities. There are populations that keep migrating from one place to another. They should have some shed on their head for safety and security of their family, for their household. So, there are housing policies defined particularly for them as well. Then you have family and child policies in place. They support family units. You have child maintenance facilities, you have maternity leave facility. So, all these cater to the development of the family for the child and the parents. So, these come under the family policy. And then there is targeted social protection, focused support for specific groups. So, for the differently abled you have certain schemes, for the small and marginalized farmers you have certain schemes, for the widows you have certain schemes. So, they are targeted social protections for these segments, making sure the policies are well implemented and reaching for the development of the people as a whole. At this juncture, you have understood what exactly is social policy, who is designing the social policy, how is it different from public policy. So, everything is in place, but then you should also take a moment as a student of sociology to see what are the challenges of social policy. So, however, having policies is not enough. The real challenges lie in its implementation. So, often we see gaps between policy design and practice, lack of awareness among beneficiaries. There are bureaucratic delays, there is lot of file work involved, people have to move from one counter to another just to understand the whole process, and this also becomes very cumbersome in day-to-day life if people have to go on their wage labor or have some health emergency. So, these kind of delays actually occur as challenges, and sometimes social resistance also occurs. So, people are not aware about certain policies, they do not know the process, and there are certain hindrances. So, this all mars the social policy implementation process. So, policy that looks effective on paper may not produce the same results on the ground, and hence we should understand as academicians and researchers that this is where we can actually pitch in. We can tell how to design the roadmap of development addressing these challenges. We should tell how we can reduce the delays moving from one counter to another. Can we have some AI? Can we have some automation? Can we have a better policy design, reduced process time period, etc. So, if we understand these issues and we understand the realities at the ground level, we can actually address these challenges of social policy. Then, as a student of sociology, you should also have a critical reflection and try and understand, to step back and ask some critical questions. Who defines social problems? Whose voices are included in policy making? Actually, who benefits and who is actually excluded from the whole scheme? Because policy is not neutral, it reflects power relations and social priorities. And who can understand this better than you, a student of sociology, understanding the power dynamics in the country? So, you should actually talk about these critical questions. You should try and understand the whole ifs and buts and pros and cons of this whole process. You should understand who actually is designing, is somebody being biased in the whole implementation, is the delivery taking place in a just manner, and you should understand and try and reflect on these questions. So, finally, social policy is not just about schemes or programs, it is about how a society chooses to organize care, distribute resources, allocates fund and address inequality. In many ways, it represents the ethical dimension of governance, and as a student of sociology, our task is not just to understand policies, but to critically engage with them, question them and analyze them, and finally reflect on their impact, see whether the implementation is correct or not. Can we have a corrective measure to address these challenges and try and understand the nuances, the nitty-gritties of the whole process? Can you reduce the delays? Can you think of some automation in the process? Can you come up with better understanding of having an empathetic lens of understanding for this whole development discourse? And then you can actually throw a good and actually come up with good contribution to this whole social policy designing. Thank you.